Are Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James teaming up? I know some of you heard that intro and said, no, not one of these videos. Why are we talking about these unrealistic scenarios? Well, I think you should keep watching because I actually think there is a chance that this happens. Because if you watch my page, I don't really talk about things that are super unrealistic, at least in my mind. I'm talking about this because I do think there's a chance that it happens. Maybe not a big chance, but a chance, and let me tell you why. The difference between what I think will happen and what I've seen floating around the internet is that people are saying Steph and LeBron. And obviously because of LeBron's contract situation, he can be a free agent after next season because of his player option. So it makes sense from that standpoint why people are saying Steph and LeBron. But I don't think this happens without KD. I think it's either all three of them or it doesn't happen at all. And they go to Golden State, just to make it clear. There is 0% chance that Steph Curry leaves Golden State, in my opinion. I guess there's always that 0.1%, but in my opinion, LeBron and KD go to Golden State in this scenario. We just saw that clip go viral, and if you did not, Kevin Durant's mom talking to Steph Curry's mom, talking about they would have had 20 chips or whatever she said, something like that. They would have had 20 rings, even though it was only 10 years ago. She said something like that, like a little joke. Because she was basically talking about how dominant they were with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and obviously the rest of the team. And she was basically saying they would have won so many rings. And I think a lot of us agree if Kevin Durant stayed, they did, Steph Curry and the Warriors did get another ring afterwards, but they could have had maybe even more rings with Kevin Durant. Who knows? It changes the whole history though. So I can't do a what if on that because by Kevin Durant leaving and then Klay Thompson unfortunately being hurt and stuff like that, it allowed Jordan Poole to develop, and he was really, really important in that championship run. So I'm not saying they wouldn't have won any more rings without Kevin Durant. I think that would be silly to say. I'm just saying that's a what if I don't really think I should dive into. So Kevin Durant's mom, the reason I brought that up though is I'm not saying she's campaigning for KD to go back to Golden State. And we don't know what KD or LeBron or Steph actually wants. We have not heard anything from any of them. So I'm just giving my opinion. But it sounded like his mom obviously loved when he was in Golden State because they were winning. It's California. A lot of people like California. The only tricky part is that KD is obviously under contract, which is why, again, people are just saying Steph Curry and LeBron because KD would have to be a trade. But as talented and as good as KD still is at this point, with the new CBA and everything else, his value has actually gone down. What the Phoenix Suns gave up to get him has nothing to do with KD's talent or anything like that. They're just not going to get the same amount of, the same amount of picks and stuff like that back that they used to trade for KD to begin with. They're just not. It's just because of the way that the landscape of the NBA is now. So that plays to the benefit of Golden State in this scenario because in this scenario wouldn't have to give up as much as they would have maybe 2-3 years ago. Or maybe Kevin Durant, goes to another team and gets bought out. I couldn't see that happening and then he goes to Golden State. I feel like if a team traded for him, they would not buy him out. So I don't think that's how it will go, but I'm just saying that is technically an option too. But the reason I really do think this is a possible realistic scenario is because LeBron is nearing the end of his career at some point, sometime soon. And like we discussed, he can be a free agent after this season if he wants to be. And Kevin Durant and Steph Curry probably have a little more time than LeBron, but they're not, they're closer to the end than the beginning, unfortunately. So if this was 5 years ago, I would say there's no way. KD and Steph were already on the same team. What I'm saying is there was no way LeBron would have joined them, if that makes sense. There was no way just because LeBron was still way, way, way in his prime. And it just if you know how it was 5 years ago, there was no way LeBron would join. The optics, whether or not you should be considering the optics when you're trying to just play the best basketball and live the best for your life. At the same time, the optics are definitely considered by NBA players when they're making moves. But now, with it being close to the end and sort of close to the end for Steph and, KD, depending on how many years they have left, the optics not only look good by doing this, but they would actually, like, the ratings would be crazy. And I don't think people would root against them as they would have 5 years ago, which is part of the optics. Like, everybody would have rooted against them, except obviously Golden State fans. But like, now people would be rooting for them. People would love to see the old guys, like how they pulled it out for the Olympics, those three on a team together and winning a ring together. I'm telling you, like, that's why it seems kind of realistic. Steph and LeBron have 4 rings each, and KD has 2 with Golden State. What better, like, there's just something about the magic number 5 and saying you have 5 rings, like 1 for each finger on a singular hand. This is also why I don't think they would have teamed up 5 years ago. And nobody will ever say this out loud, of course. And I don't think it's a bad thing to, like, have this thought. And I don't think it's, like, the main reason, but I do think it was a reason. Again, this is just me, my opinion. Nobody said, like, none of them said this. But I think Steph Curry, especially when Steph got the 4th ring, right, in 2022. And LeBron obviously got his 4th ring in the 2020 bubble. I feel like they, how do I say this? Like, in a way, they were trying to out-ring each other. Like, both of them were trying to get one more ring than the other one without having to team up. Does that make sense? Like, LeBron wanted to have 5 because he wanted to have 5 and a million other reasons, but also to have 1 more than Steph. And same for Steph, because it is part of their legacy. And if, you know, one of them has more than the other, it can help their legacy. I don't know if I explained that very well. I couldn't, like, find the proper words on how I want to say it. Like, it's not in a malicious way that, like, I feel like they thought about it. Like, I don't think they were being malicious against it. I just feel like, you know, they just, you know, want to have the best career possible. And because some people discount KD's rings, I feel like, you know, that's something that they could have possibly experienced if they got a 5th ring together earlier or whatever. Again, none of them said that, and I'm not saying that's a main reason. I'm just saying, like, it's all about the optics, like I said, and it's all these other things that could factor in. But I really do, like, I don't think it's, like, a done deal. I don't think it's, like, super, like, I don't feel like we hear rumors that it's happening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel that there's a lot of traction right now for it, especially because the season didn't even start yet, so we have to see how the teams play out. But I really actually do see a scenario where all 3 of them go to Golden State and they finish out their career getting another ring together, and that would just be like a storybook ending. It would honestly just be like such a happy ending, because none of us want to see them retire. Like, these are some of the best players ever. So much fun to watch. Great careers. Like, I don't want them to retire. So, like, what better? Because again, the NBA is also about storylines. What better storyline than Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron team up and get a final ring together? Maybe 2, depending on, you know, how long they're in the league. Doesn't that sound good? So let me know in the comments down below what you think. I understand this is probably a topic that is either hit or miss for people. Like, either you love this scenario and you love this kind of like what if scenario. And like I said, I try not to do things that I think are unrealistic, which is why I did this topic, because I do think there actually is a chance. But it's either that or you just hate this topic. You're like, no, don't start those rumors. So let me know in the comments down below what you think.